The stars were silent when the old ships left Earth. Their metal was scratched and their engines screamed like wounded animals. No one believed the humans could cross the void. Even the alien news channels made jokes about it. They called the human fleet the rusted bones of a dying world. But the humans kept going, slow and stubborn, into the cold black ocean of space. On the bridge of the lead ship Resolute, the crew moved like shadows. They had no new uniforms. Their boots were patched. Their food smelled of metal. Yet their eyes were sharp. They watched the stars, and the stars watched back. Something out there had whispered for help. A weak signal, almost lost in the static. It was not a human voice. It was small and trembling. But it said one word in broken code: help. Commander Rafik stood by the cracked window. His hands were steady on the railing, even though the ship shook. He had heard the alien laughter before. He had read the headlines. Primitive primates send junk into space. He didn't care. A voice had called for help. That was enough. Far behind the fleet, Earth's skies burned with engines and lights. Billions had watched the departure on their screens. Some cried. Some mocked. But every single one of them knew this. Once humans start something, they do not stop. The old rockets were built from shipyards, factories, and scrapyards. No luxury. Only grit. The signal came again. This time it was clearer. Help, dying. The crew of the Resolute felt their hearts tighten. It came from the star cluster no one dared to cross, a place of silent ruins where even the great alien empires had vanished. Rumors called it the grave of empires. No trade ships passed there. No patrols. Only drifting hulks and lost transmissions. Rafik turned to his officers. Set a course. We answer. No one argued. They were tired of laughing faces. They wanted proof that humans were more than jokes. The fleet moved, their engines glowing dull red. They looked weak, but inside each ship humans had done something aliens never thought of. They had mixed old tech with new hacks. They had built secret weapons from scavenged parts. And above all, they had courage. Courage was their fuel. The aliens never saw it coming. Days passed in the black. The signal grew stranger. Sometimes it sounded like a child. Sometimes like an old man. Sometimes like something not alive at all. The crew could not tell. The navigator, a thin woman named Vega, whispered at night, "It's a trap." But still she plotted the course. Because humans cannot ignore a cry for help. Outside, alien probes drifted. They watched the fleet and sent images back to distant empires. They laughed harder. "They go to their death," said the captions. "Soon their bones will join the ruins." They didn't know humans read those captions too. And they smiled in silence. On the 7th day, the fleet reached the edge of the grave. Stars here were dim and red. Broken stations floated like skeletons. Giant warships drifted with holes in their sides. All silent. All dead. The signal was strong now. It begged and begged. "Help, we are lost." The Resolute's sensors shook. Something huge moved in the darkness. Bigger than any ship built by known races. Its outline was like a city torn from a planet and thrown into the void. Its lights were faint. Its hull was scarred by weapons unknown. It looked dead, but the signal came from inside. Rafik's heart pounded. "Prepare rescue teams," he ordered. The crew nodded, but fear crept into their eyes. They had all seen the same legends. A ghost ship. A living trap. A weapon left behind by ancient powers. No one who entered returned. Yet they moved. They checked their suits. They loaded their rifles, though they knew bullets might mean nothing out here. The ships aligned their docking arms. The alien probes sent their last mocking broadcast. "Humans, turn back. Even our greatest could not survive there." Rafik answered for the first time. He sent a short message to every listening station. "You laughed at our rusted fleet. Watch now. He cut the channel. The docking clamps locked. Metal groaned. A long tunnel opened between the Resolute and the silent giant. The rescue team floated forward into the darkness, their helmet lights like small stars in a dead sky. Inside, the air was thin and cold. The walls were covered with strange writing, pulsing faintly. There were no bodies. Only shadows. The signal now was loud enough to shake their helmets. "Help! Help! Help!" it cried. A small shape moved at the far end of the corridor. It was too quick to see clearly. Human hearts raced. Rifles lifted. Lights flashed. And then, silence. The commander's radio hissed. A new voice spoke, not broken now but clear and deep, older than anything human. "You came. At last." Every soldier froze. The temperature dropped. Something stirred in the dark, vast and coiled. It was not a person. It was not a machine. It was something else, waiting for them, watching. Back on the Resolute, alarms screamed. A power surge rolled through the alien hull into their ship. Screens flickered. Engine lights dimmed. The fleet's heartbeats became one. The stars outside shifted as if something unseen moved them. And then the voice spoke again. "We asked for help. Now you will help us, or you will join us." The human team looked at one another. No one moved back. No one turned away. Because this was who they were. Even in fear, even in the jaws of death, humans go forward. The corridor shook as if something inside the alien ship had woken. Frost formed on the rescue team's visors. Their suit heaters hummed. They could hear their own breath louder than the voice in their radios. Commander Rafik raised his hand. "Stay together," he whispered. His words were steady, but his pulse raced. The alien voice was all around them now, deep and soft, like a storm under the sea. "We asked for help. You will help us, or you will join us," it said again. Private Malik aimed his rifle at the shadows. "What are you?" he shouted. His voice echoed down the endless corridor. No answer. Only a faint glow ahead, like a dying sun behind glass. They moved forward step by step. Their helmet lights showed pieces of a world long dead, broken statues, strange machines half melted, doors sealed with symbols that pulsed like veins. The air felt heavy. Time felt slower. Back on the Resolute, alarms still screamed. Vega's hands flew over the controls. "The alien ship is drawing power from us," she shouted. Sparks burst from the panels. The fleet's engines flickered. Every ship sent frantic messages, but Rafik had cut the main channel. No one wanted alien ears to hear their fear. Inside, the team reached a huge chamber. Its ceiling disappeared into darkness. In the center floated a sphere the size of a small house, cracked and glowing faintly. Wires like roots ran from it into the walls. The signal came from inside the sphere. Rafik's voice was quiet. "This is the source." The voice spoke again, but now it was many voices layered. "We are the last watchers. We were betrayed. We are trapped. We asked for help. Will you free us?" Malik's finger trembled on his trigger. "A trap," he whispered. "This is a trap." Rafik stepped closer to the sphere. The glow brightened, and for a moment he saw faces inside, alien faces, hundreds of them, pale and thin, eyes closed as if sleeping. They were not machines. They were minds. The sphere pulsed like a heart. "Our bodies are gone. Our minds are bound. Free us or die with us." Outside, alien probes watched. They sent their last mocking streams to their empires, until their signals cut off. One by one their feeds went dark. Something inside the grave of empires was swallowing their transmissions. On the Resolute, Vega clenched her teeth. "Commander, whatever you're doing, do it fast. Our power is draining. If this continues, we all drift." Rafik's hand hovered over his comm. He did not know what would happen if he spoke directly to the thing. But he knew one thing: humans answer calls for help, even when it hurts. "We came because you called," he said. "Tell us how to free you." The sphere shuddered. Symbols lit up on the walls. "A key," it said, "in the heart of this ship. But beware, our jailers left guardians." The temperature dropped again. From the far edges of the chamber came movement, tall shapes of black metal, four-armed, with glowing eyes. They stepped from alcoves like statues waking. Their limbs clicked open into weapons older than human history. Malik cursed. "Guardians!" Rafik's voice was sharp. "Fall back to cover. Fire only if attacked." The guardians moved slowly at first, then faster, their steps making the floor tremble. The team ducked behind broken consoles. Rifles came up. Lights flickered. The air filled with a low hum that made their bones ache. Back on the Resolute, Vega saw the guardians on her screens. Her hands shook, but she sent power surges through the docking arm, trying to shield the team. "I can buy you minutes," she muttered. Inside, one guardian raised a hand. A beam of cold light shot across the chamber and melted a wall where Malik had been standing seconds before. He rolled aside, heart hammering. Rafik shouted, "Now we know why no one came back." He looked at the sphere. Its glow pulsed faster, almost frantic. "Hurry," it whispered. "They will not stop. The key is near. Follow the path of light." On the floor, a faint line of symbols lit up, snaking out of the chamber into another corridor. Rafik made a quick choice. "Team 2, hold them off. Team 1, with me. We go for the key." No one argued. Humans had always divided tasks under fire. They moved. Team 2 opened fire, rifles spitting blue sparks. The guardians reeled but did not fall. Their metal bodies hissed where the rounds struck. The air stank of ozone. Rafik led Team 1 into the corridor. The line of light pulsed under their boots. Behind them, the chamber echoed with battle cries and alien hums. They ran deeper into the ship, past walls of shifting symbols and frozen air. The corridor bent and bent until it opened into another chamber, smaller, but hotter, filled with a golden glow. In the center floated a crystal blade unlike any tool they knew. It hummed like a song. The symbols on the walls whispered, "The key." Rafik reached out. His glove brushed the blade. Pain like ice shot up his arm. His visor filled with flashes, stars dying, empires falling, a war that had ended before humans learned fire. The last watchers had been keepers, not conquerors. And their jailers had been something worse. His knees buckled. But he held on. Because this was why they had come. Behind him, the floor shook. Distantly he could hear Malik shouting, gunfire, metal footsteps closing in. He had seconds. He gripped the blade with both hands. "We're here," he whispered. "We'll help." The blade's glow spread through his suit, through the corridor, back to the sphere. The alien voice gasped in 100 tones. "Yes, at last." And then everything went white. Light swallowed the corridor. For a heartbeat Rafik thought he had died. His suit felt weightless. No sound. No heat. Only white light like the inside of a star. Then shapes returned. His boots were on a floor again, but not metal. It was like glass, glowing faintly. Above him stretched a sky full of moving symbols instead of stars. His team was gone. He was alone. A voice spoke, but this time it was not from his radio. It was inside his head. "You hold the key. You opened the gate." Rafik spun around. A figure stood behind him. It was not one alien but many, a shifting shape of faces and hands, flickering like a flame. "The last watchers. What have you done with my team?" he demanded. "They still fight," the voice said. "Time runs slow outside while we speak. You chose to help. Now you must know what you free." Images poured into his mind. Vast cities floating in nebulae. Armies of metal guardians marching. A black shape coiling around a sun until the light went out. The last watchers had built weapons to stop it. Then their weapons turned on them. Their bodies died. Their minds were locked in this ship for eons, screaming for help no one dared to give. Rafik staggered. "You want me to release you?" "Yes," the voice said. "Break the seals. The key you hold can shatter our prison. And then what? You could destroy everything." The shifting faces looked at him sadly. "We were protectors. We swore to stand watch. We only want freedom. But if you leave us bound, this ship will feed until your fleet dies. You will join the ruins." Rafik clenched his fists. Humans always had to gamble on incomplete truths. He thought of Earth, of the people who had built these rusty ships with their own hands. They had sent him to answer a cry for help, not to create a new monster. But he also thought of his crew fighting the Guardians, their lives burning out like sparks. He took a breath. "Show me how." The light dimmed. A path appeared under his feet, a bridge of symbols leading to a pillar of dark crystal. "Touch the pillar with the blade," the voice said. "All chains will break." He stepped onto the bridge. Each footstep sent ripples of light out into the endless sky. Behind him, the flickering faces whispered blessings and warnings. Ahead, the pillar loomed like a shadow frozen in glass. Meanwhile, outside in real time, the chamber was chaos. Team 2 fired until their rifles overheated. Guardians closed in, silent and unstoppable. Malik shouted orders, trying to buy seconds. The sphere of minds pulsed brighter and brighter, feeding on the blade Rafik had taken. Vega on the Resolute slammed her fists on the console. "We're losing them," she cried. Her screens showed energy spikes rising off the alien ship like lightning. She could not tell if it was power or a weapon. Inside the mind space, Rafik reached the pillar. His hands shook as he lifted the blade. "If this kills us," he whispered. He remembered the mocking alien headlines, the people on Earth watching their fleet vanish into darkness. "Then at least they will know we tried." He drove the blade into the pillar. A sound like breaking ice filled the sky. The pillar cracked. Chains of black light snapped and dissolved. The flickering faces around him screamed, but not in anger. In relief. "We are free," the voice thundered. The sky of symbols burst outward into stars. For a moment Rafik felt thousands of minds rushing past him like a tide, flooding out of the ship into the void. Then, everything fell silent. He was back in the corridor, on his knees, still gripping the blade. The glow had faded. The ship felt different. The air was warmer. The walls no longer pulsed with hostile symbols. Malik's voice came over the radio. "Commander, the Guardians, they're gone." Gunfire had stopped. They just fell apart. Rafik stood, dizzy. Status. Team 2 alive. Shaken, but alive. "Whatever you did, it worked." On the Resolute, Vega's alarms went quiet. Power returned. The alien ship no longer drained them. Outside the grave, alien probes flickered back online, but their signals were confused. Something huge had moved past them, something they could not track. Rafik looked at the blade. It was dark now, just a shard of crystal. "We freed them," he said softly. "But where did they go?" The ship answered. The walls around him trembled with a new voice, softer but still alien. "You kept your promise. We will keep ours. Go now. The grave is no longer safe." Malik frowned. "Commander, I don't like this. If they're free, what stops them from turning on us?" Rafik didn't answer. He guided the team back toward the docking arm. As they moved, the alien ship began to shift, its broken parts folding inward like a dying flower. Lights flickered and dimmed. It was collapsing behind them. They crossed the tunnel back into the Resolute. The clamps released. Engines roared. The fleet began to pull away from the grave. On the main screen, Vega gasped. "Sir, look." Outside the window, a shape larger than any moon rose from the ruins. It was like a living nebula, coiled and shining, Thousands of alien minds now fused into one. It drifted past the fleet, silent and enormous, heading for the dark between stars. Every crew member watched, silent. Some felt awe. Some felt fear. All knew history had changed. The great shape paused for a moment. A single pulse of light flashed across space, a signal, then it vanished into the black. Rafik sat down heavily. "We answered a plea for help," he said. "Now we see what help costs." Far behind them, the grave of empires crumbled, releasing debris and echoes. Ahead lay open space and uncertain futures. The humans' rusted fleet had survived, but now all the stars knew their name. And somewhere in the dark, the last watchers were awake again. The rusted fleet drifted out of the grave of empires. Engines rattled. Hulls shook. Every ship carried scars. Yet every ship still moved. Humans had gone where others feared to go, and come back alive. On the bridge of the Resolute, no one spoke for a long time. They just watched the empty space behind them. The grave was shrinking into a cloud of dust and broken lights. Somewhere in that cloud the last watchers had vanished into the dark. At last Vega broke the silence. "Commander," she said softly, "what have we done?" Rafik's eyes were fixed on the black horizon. "We answered a call," he said. "We don't know what comes next." Across the fleet, people were sending messages home. Some cried. Some laughed. Some stared at their screens, thinking of the alien shape that had drifted past them. The human ships looked weak, but the galaxy would never see them the same way again. A signal blinked on the console. Not from Earth. Not from the grave. A new one. Sharp. Clean. It carried no words, only coordinates and a symbol. The symbol looked like an eye surrounded by 7 stars. Vega frowned. "Unknown source," she said. "It came as soon as we left the grave. Could be a trap." Malik, his armor still scorched from the fight, leaned against the wall. "Everything out here is a trap," he muttered. Rafik studied the symbol. "Or an invitation," he said. "Set course. We'll see who is watching." No one argued. Humans had not come this far to hide. Engines flared. The fleet turned toward the coordinates. Days passed. The stars here were sharp and blue. No debris. No ruins. Just clean space. It felt wrong, like a room too quiet after a storm. On the 3rd day, the fleet reached the coordinates. Nothing was there. Only empty void. No planets. No stations. No signals. Then a shimmer appeared ahead, like heat above asphalt. It grew into a doorway of light. A wormhole, but built, not natural. Its edges glowed with the same symbol as the message, an eye with 7 stars. Vega whispered, "Someone built this for us." Malik checked his rifle even though it meant nothing in space. "Or for the watchers we just freed," he said. "And we're walking in blind." Rafik stood. "We came to answer a plea for help," he said. "We still don't know the whole story. If we turn back now, we'll never know." He sent a short message to the fleet. "We go forward. Stay sharp." The ships moved into the light. For a moment everything stretched. The ships' hulls groaned. Crew members felt their stomachs twist as gravity bent. Then the fleet burst out the other side, into a system unlike any human had seen. A huge station floated around a small white star. It was shaped like a ring with towers growing from it like crystal teeth. Ships of many alien races hung in orbit. None looked friendly. Their weapons tracked the human fleet the moment it appeared. Alarms blared. Messages in dozens of languages filled the channels. Orders. Warnings. Threats. Vega's eyes widened. "It's a council," she breathed. "All of them. They're all here." Malik cursed. "They knew. They've been watching." Rafik kept his voice calm. "Open a channel," he said. "Let's hear them." A single image appeared on the screen, an alien older than any Rafik had seen, its skin like stone, its eyes deep and cold. When it spoke, its voice was a chorus of translators. "Humans," it said. "You have done what none dared. You freed the Watchers. Do you understand what you have unleashed?" Rafik met its gaze. "We heard a cry for help. We answered." "Foolishness," the alien said. "The Watchers kept the great hunger sealed. They were not prisoners. They were the lock. Now the lock is gone." A shiver went through the crew. Vega whispered, "Great hunger?" The alien leaned closer on the screen. "A thing that devours stars. A thing that sleeps until the Watchers hold it down. And you, humans, in your rusted ships, have cut the chains." Malik's hands clenched. "You're saying we unleashed a monster?" The alien's eyes burned. "It is awake already. Even now it moves. We felt it pass. You have doomed us all." The screen filled with noise as the other alien ships shouted in their own tongues. Threats. Pleas. Demands. The council was breaking into chaos. Rafik stood very still. In his chest, a cold stone formed. He thought of the vast shape drifting past them, shining like a nebula. He thought of its single pulse of light. Was that a goodbye, or a warning? "We didn't know," he said quietly. "No one ever does," the alien said. "But now you are part of this. You are bound. The Watchers may have chosen you as their messengers, or their bait." Vega's hands shook on the console. "Commander, what do we do?" Rafik straightened. "We do what humans always do," he said. "We fight for life. We learn fast. We adapt. And we don't run." He opened a channel to the whole fleet. "Prepare for contact. The galaxy thinks we have doomed them. Maybe we have. But we're not done yet. We didn't come this far to die silent." Behind the alien council, warning sirens began to flash. On distant sensors, something huge moved between stars, something dark, coiled, and hungry. Rafik closed his eyes for a heartbeat. "The stars just got smaller," he murmured. "And the fight just got bigger." Outside the window, the human ships, patched and scarred, drifted among giants. They looked weak. But inside, every crew member felt the same fire, the same stubbornness, the same quiet rage at the laughter of others. For the first time, the galaxy saw humans not as a joke, but as a spark. And far away in the dark, something old and hungry opened its eyes. The council's chamber flickered on every screen. Alien leaders argued in 100 languages. Their ships formed a ring around the human fleet, weapons armed. The white star burned cold behind them, casting long shadows over metal hulls. On the Resolute, Vega's voice shook. "They're going to fire on us, Commander." Malik's fingers hovered over the weapons console. "We can't take all of them," he muttered. "Not with patched hulls and old guns." Rafik stood tall in the middle of the bridge. "They're afraid," he said quietly. "Afraid of the hunger. Afraid of the Watchers. And afraid of us." He opened a channel to every ship in orbit. His voice carried across the void. "We didn't come to fight you," he said. "We came to help a voice in the dark. If we broke something, we'll fix it. But you'll have to stop aiming your guns at us first." For a moment, the arguing stopped. Then the stone-skinned alien leader appeared again on the screen. "You cannot fix what you've done," it said. "The hunger is awake. It moves between stars even now. Nothing can stop it." Rafik's gaze hardened. "If nothing can stop it, why are you all still here?" he asked. "Why not run?" The alien's eyes flickered. "We hoped you were dead," it admitted. "Now we hope you know something we do not." Rafik leaned forward. "We don't. But we're human. We improvise." Malik whispered, "Sir." Rafik raised a hand. "Listen," he said to the alien council. "We freed the Watchers. They didn't attack us. They left. They sent a pulse of light. Maybe it was a warning. Maybe it was a signal. If they're tied to the hunger, then we're already involved. Killing us won't change that. Working with us might. The alien leader's face darkened. Humans, you are reckless. But reckless may be what is needed. It turned its head. The other aliens shouted again. Finally the leader spoke. We will give you one chance. Our sensors show the hunger's path. It heads for a dead system called Kaelron. If you are as brave as you claim, go there and see what we cannot. Bring us proof. Or die. The screen went dark. Silence filled the Resolute. Vega exhaled slowly. Kaelron, she said. The death spiral. Even automated probes don't return. Malik rubbed his face. We just got out of one graveyard and now they want us to dive into another. Rafik looked at his crew. This is who we are, he said. We don't run. Set course for Kaelron. Engines lit. The human fleet turned away from the Council's ring of ships and slipped into dark space. Days stretched into weeks. The stars grew fewer. Space grew colder. The crew stopped sending messages home. No one wanted to say goodbye twice. On the Resolute, Malik trained new recruits in the cargo bay, teaching them to shoot, to seal hull breaches, to think fast. Vega pored over alien star maps. Rafik spent hours staring at the blade of crystal in his quarters. It still hummed faintly, like a heartbeat. At last the fleet reached Kaelron. It was not a system but a wound. 3 dead suns, each torn open, their light bleeding into black holes. Around them drifted shattered planets, broken stations, and something else. A long line of burned ships, alien and human, all silent. Vega whispered. This is what the hunger does. The blade in Rafik's hand vibrated. Symbols flickered across its surface. It's calling to something, he said. Or something is calling to it. Malik's sensors beeped. Contact, he said. Multiple contacts. Big. Moving fast. Shapes emerged from behind the dead suns. At first they looked like shadows. Then they unfolded like wings. They were not ships. They were not alive. They were both, dark creatures of metal and mist, longer than cities, their eyes glowing like dying stars. The hunger. One of the creatures opened its jaws. Space bent. A wave of force rolled across the fleet. Hulls groaned. Lights dimmed. Crew members clutched their heads as whispers filled their minds. Join, the whispers said. Join. The blade burned in Rafik's hands. He staggered but did not drop it. They're speaking, he gasped. It's not hunger like eating. It's hunger like taking. Vega fought the controls. Shields are failing. Malik shouted. We can't fight these things. Not like this. Rafik's eyes burned with resolve. We're not here to fight, he said. We're here to see. He held the blade high. It flared with blue fire. The whispers sharpened into words. We remember you, the creatures said. Watchers. The blade pulsed back. In Rafik's mind flashed the image of the last Watchers, the living nebula drifting into the dark. He understood. The hunger was not just a monster. It was a prison. The Watchers had bound it by joining with it. Now they were free, and so was it. They're looking for the Watchers, he whispered. They think we're them. The creatures circled the fleet, their shadows blotting out the stars. No attack came. Only waiting. Rafik opened a channel to every ship. Hold fire, he ordered. Do nothing. Let me try. He spoke into the dark. We are not your jailers. We are human. We heard a cry for help. We came. Tell us what you want. The whispers stopped. The creatures drifted closer until their faces filled the windows. Their eyes glowed brighter. Then a single thought entered every human mind. We are hungry. We will come. We will take. Show us the Watchers. Rafik's grip tightened on the blade. We don't know where they are, he said softly. But maybe they left a trail. Behind the fleet, one of the dead suns flickered, a pulse of light like a beacon. The blade hummed louder. Malik stared. Sir, what is that? Rafiq's heart pounded. Our only chance, he said. Follow the pulse. The fleet turned toward the dying star, its rusted hulls glinting like sparks against the dark wings of the Hunger. The rusted fleet moved toward the pulse of the dying star. Behind them, the creatures of the Hunger glided like shadows, wings of mist folded around the black holes. They did not attack. They only followed, waiting. On the Resolute's bridge, no one breathed loudly. Vega's fingers hovered over the controls. Malik's hands gripped his rifle, even though it was useless here. The blade in Rafiq's hand glowed hotter with each mile. The pulse is inside the star, Vega said. Deep inside. How? Malik whispered. Nothing can live in there. Maybe not alive, Rafiq said softly. But something left a message. The dying star loomed ahead like a cracked heart. Streams of fire spiraled off its surface into the dark. Around it drifted broken satellites, ancient and scorched. The pulse flashed again, a rhythm, like a code. Rafiq closed his eyes. The blade's glow matched the pulse. He felt it tug at his mind, guiding him. It's a door, he said. The Watchers left us a door. Malik stared at him. Commander, are you sure you're still you? Rafiq almost smiled. No. But we're out of choices. He ordered the fleet to hold position at the star's edge. The Resolute moved closer alone, its old shield straining against the heat. The Hunger's creatures circled, their eyes fixed on the ship. They whispered in the crew's heads, faint, impatient. Vega's voice cracked. We're at the limit, sir. Any closer, and we burn. Rafiq gripped the blade. Open the ventral bay. I'll go. Malik's head snapped up. You're going alone? I'm the one it's calling, Rafiq said. If it's a trap, better one life than all. No, Malik said, standing. We don't do that. Not here. Rafiq met his eyes. Stay with the crew. Keep them alive. If I fail, get the fleet out. He didn't wait for an answer. He walked to the bay, the blade humming like a live wire. The doors opened to the star's fire. Heat alarms screamed, but his suit held, barely. He launched in a small pod, a dot of human metal falling into the sun. Inside the star, light became liquid. His pod rattled, hull glowing red. Symbols flickered across the blade, then across the pod's screens. A tunnel opened in the fire, a spiral of darker plasma leading down. He followed. At the end of the spiral was a hollow, a bubble in the star's heart. Floating in the center was a shape. Not a ship, not a creature, but something like a seed. Black, cracked, but pulsing faintly with blue light. Rafiq gasped. A beacon. He reached out. The blade in his hand flared. The seed opened like a flower. A stream of images poured into his mind, the Watchers drifting, their nebula form splitting, scattering fragments across stars. One fragment was here, hidden in the sun. A voice spoke inside his skull. You came. Where are you? Rafiq asked aloud. We are scattered. The Hunger hunts us. You hold our key. If you bring us together, we can bind it again. Rafiq's heart pounded. If I bring you together, or bring it straight to you. Silence. Then, the Hunger will follow. But we cannot fight it apart. Only whole can we stop it. You must decide. Outside the star, the Hunger's creatures stirred. Their wings spread, blotting out the void. The Resolute shook under invisible pressure. Vega shouted at the console. They're moving, Malik. They're coming for us. Malik gritted his teeth. Hold fire. Give the commander time. Inside, Rafiq floated before the seed. Sweat soaked his collar. He had no orders from Earth, no alien promises, only a choice. Bring the watchers back together and risk leading the hunger straight to them, or leave them scattered and watch the galaxy be eaten piece by piece. He remembered the people who had built these ships. Not governments. Not empires. People. Workers, scientists, children watching the launch on cracked screens. They had sent him to help. He pressed the blade into the seed. Light burst out, filling the bubble, flooding his pod. Symbols poured through him, coordinates flashing across his eyes, star systems, hidden places where the Watcher's fragments slept. The voice whispered, "Find us. Quickly." Then the light faded. The seed dissolved into dust, leaving only the blade, now heavier, etched with new lines. Rafik's pod shot upward through the tunnel of fire. Shields failing. Hull screaming. He gritted his teeth until black space opened above him again. The Resolute caught him in its bay, doors slamming shut as alarms howled. Malik yanked him from the pod. "Sir, are you alive?" Rafik stumbled but stood. "Alive," he said. He held up the blade. "And now we have their map." Outside, the Hunger's creatures had stopped. They hovered around the fleet, restless, whispering. Vega's voice was thin. "Commander, what do we tell them?" Rafik walked to the window. The creature's eyes glowed like dying suns. He lifted the blade high. "We tell them the truth," he said. He opened the comm. "We know where the Watchers are. We're going to bring them back. Follow us if you dare." The whispers swelled. The creatures shivered, wings folding, a soundless roar rolling through space. Then they parted, leaving a path through the dark. Malik blinked. "They're letting us go?" "For now," Rafik said. He turned to his crew. "Set course for the first coordinate. We're going to gather the Watchers." Vega's hands flew over the controls. "And if the Hunger follows?" Rafik's eyes burned with a quiet fire. "Then we show the galaxy what humans do when the stars shake." The rusted fleet turned away from the dead suns, engines flaring weak but steady. Behind them, the Hunger coiled and watched, patient as a storm. Ahead lay unknown systems and the scattered minds of the Watchers. And somewhere in the dark, a fight older than history was beginning again, with humans now at its heart. The rusted fleet moved from star to star, following the map inside the blade. Every system was stranger than the last, hidden worlds of glass, caves inside dead moons, frozen clouds where no light reached. In each place they found a fragment of the Watchers, a spark of blue light sleeping in ancient machines. The Hunger followed. Its creatures never attacked outright. They hovered at the edge of sensors, huge shadows in the dark, their wings folded like knives. They were waiting, patient, sure that the humans would lead them to their prey. On the Resolute, life became a rhythm of danger and discovery. Malik drilled the crews until they moved like one unit. Vega learned to read the Watcher's symbols as if they were music. Rafik grew thinner, paler, but his eyes burned brighter. Each time he pressed the blade to a fragment, the blue light merged with it. The blade grew heavier, humming like a storm inside glass. After 7 fragments, the blade was no longer a shard. It was a spear of crystal taller than a man, pulsing like a living heart. When Rafik touched it, he heard whispers not of the Hunger but of the Watchers themselves. Not angry, not afraid, but ready. "They are waiting," he told his crew. "One last place. One last piece. Then they will be whole again." The final coordinate lay at the edge of known space, a starless gulf where sensors failed. The fleet slipped into it like moths into a cave. Darkness swallowed them. Even the Hunger's creatures seemed to hesitate at the edge. Inside the gulf hung a single object, a sphere of cracked metal the size of a small moon. No light, no heat, only stillness. The blade's glow flared white. "This is it," Vega whispered. Rafik's voice was steady. "All ships hold position. We go in." The Resolute approached the sphere. Its hull opened like a wound. Inside was a chamber of black stone. In the center floated the last fragment, but not asleep. It pulsed with wild energy, like a caged storm. Rafik stepped forward with the spear. The fragment's voice filled the chamber. You bring us together. You bring the hunger too. Are you ready? Rafik lifted the spear. We don't have a choice. He thrust the spear into the fragment. Light exploded outward, rushing through the sphere, through the fleet, through the dark gulf. Outside, the hunger screamed, a soundless roar that shook every hull. Its creatures unfolded their wings and lunged. But the watchers were awake. The fleet's windows filled with blue fire as the fragments merged. A vast shape formed above the ships, larger than any planet, a nebula of living light coiling like a serpent of stars. It wrapped around the humans but did not crush them. Its eyes opened, thousands of eyes like small suns. Vega's voice trembled. Commander, we brought them back. The hunger's creatures dove. Their black wings tore at the light. Space bent and cracked. For a moment it looked as if the watchers would be devoured. Then Rafik's radio filled with a deep, calm voice, not inside his head, but clear over the speakers. You kept your promise. Stand with us. Rafik's hands clenched the console. All ships, he ordered. Form the line. Feed them everything we've got. Malik shouted. Sir, our weapons won't matter. They will, Rafik said. They're watching. They'll fight if we stand. The fleet spread out, rusted hulls glowing with weak shields. They opened fire, not to kill, but to distract, to draw the hunger away from the watchers. Their shots sparked against black wings like sparks against an ocean. But the humans held formation. The watchers' light flared. They reached through the human systems, merging old engines with alien power. The fleet's shields hardened, their weapons burned brighter than they had any right to. In that instant humans and watchers fought as one. The hunger writhed, trying to close around them. But for the first time in ages, it met resistance. The watchers' coils tightened, wrapping the creatures in bands of blue fire. The humans poured their fire into the gaps. One by one the dark wings shrieked and shattered into mist. At the center of the battle, Rafik stood on the bridge, hands gripping the rail. Hold, he whispered. Just hold. The spear of crystal rose from the deck by itself, glowing like a star. It cracked, splitting into 1,000 shards of light. Each shard shot outward into the watcher's coils. Chains of blue fire closed around the hunger. The void trembled. For a heartbeat everything froze, humans, watchers, hunger, all locked together. Then the darkness broke. The creatures of the hunger dissolved into shadow and were gone. The gulf filled with quiet light. The watchers drifted, their coils loosening, their eyes soft. A single voice spoke from the nebula. It is done. On every ship, people sagged in their chairs. Vega covered her face. Malik let out a shuddering laugh. We're still here, he said. Rafik stared out the window. We are. The watcher's voice came again. You risked everything. You stood. Because of you, we are whole. Because of you, the hunger sleeps again. You may go home. Rafik swallowed. And you. We will keep watch. This time not bound, but awake. And we will remember. The nebula began to fade, scattering into 1,000 streams of light heading to the far edges of space. Before it vanished completely, one stream coiled around the human fleet, leaving behind a faint glow on every hull, a mark no other race carried. Vega whispered, They marked us. Rafik nodded. Not as prey. As allies. The glow faded. The gulf was empty. Only the rusted fleet remained, scarred but alive, engines still burning. Ahead lay the stars, open and endless. Rafik sat down, exhausted. Set course for home, he said. Then, after a pause, no. Set course for the council. They need to see we're not running. Malik grinned wearily. They'll never laugh at our ships again. Rafik looked at the stars. They'll know what humans are now. And so will the watchers. The fleet turned, its patched hulls shining faintly with alien light. Behind them the gulf closed, the hunger sealed once more. Ahead the stars waited, no longer silent. And in the quiet bridge of the Resolute, Commander Rafik allowed himself a thin smile. Humanity had answered a plea for help, and shaken the stars.